Welcome back to RK Sneha work. Today we are going to tell you a story of Shiva and Parvati. After the death of Sati, the goddess Shakti incarnated onto the earth again as the daughter of King Himavat and Queen Meena. After her birth as Parvati, the sage Narad Muni declared that this infant princess was destined to marry Shiva. All while growing up, Parvati would fantasize about Shiva and how she was meant to be his wife. When the time came that Parvati was of marriageable age, she traveled to the Himalayas in order to perform penance to appease Shiva. But Shiva was still grieving for his lost wife Sati and would not leave his meditation. Yet he was unaware that Parvati was the very incarnation of Sati, since they each embody Adi Parashakti. So Parvati continued her penance, only allowing herself to eat roots and leaves while bearing the climate of the mountains without any clothing. So great was Parvati's suffering in order to win Shiva's heart that she soon grew very thin, but still she continued to praise Shiva and follow in his footsteps of asceticism. Meanwhile, the gods and humans were being terrorized by the Asur Taraka. The gods went to Brahma for help and he responded that only the son of Shiva could defeat Taraka. This caused the gods to step in and assist Parvati in drawing Shiva out of his meditation. They sent Kam, the god of desire, to Mount Kailash where Shiva stayed. Once there, Kam shot one of his divine arrows into Shiva in order to rouse desire in him for Parvati. However, this only enraged Shiva, causing him to open his third eye and annihilate Kama into ash. Parvati continued her severe penance for around 5,000 years and had stopped eating and drinking altogether, becoming skeletal in appearance. Her body had been at the mercy of the winds, the cold, the searing heat, and yet Parvati remained. So determined was she to be with Shiva that her penance equaled that of Mahayogi Shiva himself. From this great penance, Parvati came to remember her past life as Sati and thus realized that she was the incarnation of Shakti. The energy she created from her penance grew so strong that it reached all the way to Shiva, who stirred from his meditation. Noticing Parvati, he became immensely impressed by the princess and he too noticed that she was his lost wife. He gathered himself up and decided to go test Parvati's devotion to him. Under the guise of an elderly Brahmin, Shiva approached Parvati and asked her, "Why are you performing such severe penance, my dear? What do you wish to obtain?" To this, Parvati replied that she wished to marry you, Lord Shiva. This caused Shiva to cringe, for he realized all this suffering was for him. He then asked, "Why would such a beautiful woman like you want to marry someone who covered himself with ash and wears a tiger skin?" At that question, Parvati became enraged and snapped, "What do you know about him? I am the reincarnation of goddess Sati, his other half. We aren't complete without each other." Knowing that her heart was true, Shiva revealed himself to Parvati and tearfully reunited with one another, agreeing to marry. He took Parvati into his arms and cleaned her body with the water of Ganga flowing from his hair, causing her to emerge as beautiful and radiant like the moon, and earning her the name Mahagauri. On the day of her wedding, Parvati awaited Shiva at her palace in the company of her family, but when Shiva arrived, he appeared in a terrorizing form with his body smeared in ash and snakes all around his neck and hair. Accompanying him was a whole host of gods, spirits, sages, guns, and aghoris. Upon seeing this, Parvati's parents are left in shock and horror, with many other members fainting out at that moment because of pure terror. In order to help her family and save Shiva from embarrassment, Parvati takes the fierce form of her aspect Chandraghanta and approaches Shiva. Calmly, Chandraghanta persuades Shiva to instead take the form of a handsome prince, to which Shiva obliges. The two of them have a grand wedding and happily remain together at Mount Kailash. Har Har Mahadeva.